Hi guys, today we're going to discuss a particular dynamic that takes place between men and women, and specifically how ignoring women makes them seem to want men even more. I also want to touch upon the massive outpouring of negative comments that women have about men who are going their own way on social media and in everyday conversations in offices, in parks, and coffee shops. Going back a few years, you would come across men being in the background and basically trying to protect themselves from women and the risk of being with women and the associated consequences such as divorce or having their life savings taken away from them or having their children taken away from them. These are men who had gone their own way and they were afraid to come out and declare it because they knew society would just alienate them, other men would laugh at them, and they would basically be in the crosshairs to be ridiculed for their self-preserving philosophy. And this is also true for the 10 or 20% of men that women usually want and go after. But things have changed over the years. Men are no longer shying away from telling the world that they've had enough, seen enough, and experienced enough to know that they just don't want to pursue women anymore. They're a whole lot better off without them. They're going their own way. They're going to live their life their own way, build their skills, pursue their long-standing habits, and live a normal life, just without being committed to women. And it's not like they hate women or anything. They just don't want to be in a relationship with them because they're just not okay with all the drama that comes after marriage or how the system works against them if they get divorced. And now women are looking at men coming out and saying they're going their own way. The number of men doing this is steadily on the rise. I think this is why more women are starting to think that maybe these men might be right. They're not bad men. They're good guys who just don't want bad experiences anymore. These are guys who are on a scale from 1 to 10, or 2s and 3s, or even 8s and 9s. Men are now consuming and telling their stories about how they went MGTOW and what it means to them. These men are on all social media platforms making videos, sharing comments, and sharing content from other people talking about the same thing. These men are also on forums and discussion boards. Men have now become comfortable talking about MGTOW, and now I believe it's something that society is accepting and women are understanding. Men are saying that we're just not going to get into relationships or marriage anymore because we're tired of being taken for granted. We're no longer playing the dating game because we feel it's rigged against us. Feminism has gone from a female liberation movement to a movement that just wants to bring down men, and men are not okay with that. So they're just walking off the field and going their own way. And these are women who grew up with an entitlement to being taken on dates, and to be given gifts and have their meals and expenses paid for by men. With feminism and equality on the cards, men want women to bring their half on the table, to pay up, to being the partner that the feminist movement preaches about. And now what is happening is that there's a surge in the number of women who are making a lot of content on MGTOW, claiming that they know what it's like to be a man who has had to shoulder the responsibility of women throughout his life and be disappointed by women who only end up using them for their time, energy, and resources. So I was on a date recently and had a conversation with my date about men going their own way. And guys, she knew about the whole RP philosophies and what they're all about, and I told her how I know all about them as well. We had an okay time, but I could just tell that she was thinking that this guy knows all about RP and MGTOW, so he's very much aware of the game. He knows what women's true nature is and everything that I do. This guy will be 2 steps ahead of me all the time. One thing that comes to my mind when I think about all of this is that if women know that a guy is already someone who's MGTOW or claiming to be going his own way, if they know this and come up with their own A game to get the man, charm him up and seduce him, I'm sure that at least half of the men trying to be MGTOW are going to change in a heartbeat. They're just one night of bedroom activity away from turning their backs on being RP. Now there are these women who are making content on MGTOW on YouTube. And if you go to their videos, you'll hear them say that yes, I totally understand why men are going their own way. That feminism is so wrong, that women need to do better. These women really don't understand what RP or MGTOW is. Sure, they have an idea about it, but they don't completely understand it. That's fine, by the way, no issues with that. But I do have an issue with the guys that are in the comments section of these videos, saying that I'm so happy there are women like you, and that I wish more women would do this. Seriously guys, you can't claim to be going your own way if you're still following women around on social media and falling for their new games. Because these women, I can say for certain, are going to one day flip it around and somehow make MGTOW all about women. They're going to turn this thing against men. And then, what are the men in the comments section going to do then? Flip around with the women too. I mean, if you don't stand for one thing, you don't stand for anything. That's what I think. So going back to the topic that we started on, I can say that for guys, it's really tough to ignore women, especially when they bring their A game to the table. And mind you, women completely understand that. They know that, and they have used that to their advantage throughout their lives, and they will keep using it. It's just in their nature to. So for a guy, it's very important to have the willpower to ignore women, to know how to ignore them, and not let them exploit a man's desperation, which they can smell from a mile away. Above everything else, women want attention, and when you don't give it to them, it makes them go crazy. It makes them show their true colors. So if you want the attention of a woman, stop getting them any, and see how fast she comes to you with her new strategies. Getting your attention is basically them telling you that they understand MGTOW, but they can change their game and even their whole thinking if they're not getting what they want. So you better be prepared. And if you fail and succumb to the pressure, you know what's waiting for you if you get into a long-term relationship with her. You can't change their nature. Just remember that. That's it for today, guys. Thanks for tuning in.